Hello, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and the sunshine has finally come out. I went for a lovely walk this morning and I've got to say it feels like it's been non-stop rain since the year began. So it's good to get some sunshine on my face, but I'm not a weather forecaster. I'm a football content creator and we are here to talk about Watford FC today and the latest going-ons around our wonderful football club. And we will start actually with the unfortunate news on Roco Vat. I'm sure you would have all seen on social media now in the past 24 hours or so. Roco has unfortunately announced that he will be missing the rest of this season with injury he sustained. It looks like another hamstring tear, strain, whatever it is, away at Blackburn Rovers. And as I said, he'll be out until at least the end of this season, which is, a travesty. And I've got to say, I really feel for Roco on both a personal and professional level. He was clearly well liked and trusted by Javi since he rejoined the club. The first injury was very unfortunate as well. And who do we attribute this? I'm not going to call it a reoccurrence necessarily because I think it was on the other leg. But who would you attribute the blame on this too? Of course, there is an element of randomness with any injury. Footballers are explosive, physical players, and there's always a risk whenever they step out on the football pitch that they might sustain something. But I do feel personally, in my opinion, that we did rush Roco back maybe slightly quicker than we should have done. We had plenty of options on the bench against Blackburn. You could have started ahead of that. Georgie was there, as was Iran Kunda and Kwadwo Bar. Javi, for one reason or another, went with Roco to start the game straight away. And from what I've read, it sounded like the plan was for him to come off at half-time anyway, which I do find quite bizarre and odd. If that was the case, I would have just kept him on the bench and used him as kind of a second half impact substitute. So of course I think Javi has to take some responsibility for this. The Watford medical and physio staff, I'm sure, are immensely frustrated as well. And now we've lost one of our kind of key attacking players for this very crucial second half of the season. So a real shame. Hopefully we'll learn from this situation to not rush back people sooner than they should be. And wishing Roco all the best, of course. Gutted for him, and hopefully it's a very speedy recovery and we see him back firing on all cylinders at the start of next season. Some transfer news to bring you as well in regards to the forgotten man, Daniel Bachmann. Now, a couple of years ago, Daniel Bachmann had signed a new 5-year contract. He was appointed the Watford FC captain, and it looked all rosy for him at the club. It looked like he was going to be kind of the long-term future of our goalkeeping area. Unfortunately, though, for him, through injury and essentially not being wanted by those in charge, he's really dropped down the pecking order. And this season, as you remember, he went on loan to Deportivo La Coruña in Spain. He ended up being the third choice goalkeeper for them in the end. He's asked to have his loan terminated and return back to England for personal reasons. And according to reports in the media this afternoon, it looks like he's set to join Leyton Orient on a loan deal. Now, I'm assuming it's a loan deal. It's not been specified in the reports. Ideally, in this scenario, if Watford could shift Bachmann on a permanent transfer to kind of get his wages off the books as well, that would be the perfect scenario for all involved. And I think it's a real shame, actually, because, Dan Bachmann clearly has his qualities. I think shot stopping is certainly up there as one of them, but I do feel that the negatives of him at Watford were kind of attitude on the pitch. As a captain, he wasn't a natural leader. I tended to find that watching him in games, he would be very vocal in his complaints towards referees and officials. He was never really kind of an inspired leader on the football pitch like we've seen in previous seasons with other Watford captains. And look, he's a perfectly fine goalkeeper for Championship level. And actually, for League One, Leyton Orient, who are mid-table at the moment, it's probably quite a big coup to get a player of Dan Bachmann's quality. But as I said, it's just not worked out for him. Egil Selvik is here. He's a Norwegian current international. Nathan Baxter is an adequate backup in that position as well. And we have young Alfie Marriott in the academy as our third choice in that position. So I think this is a good move for all involved. It sounds like he's due to complete a medical in the next 24 hours or so. And if it's a loan deal, I wish him all the best. And alternatively, if it ends up being a permanent transfer as well, I think that is a fantastic resolution to this saga for everyone involved. So yeah, wishing Dan all the best on his move to Orient. It looks like that one is quite advanced. Another player who could be leaving this window is our small midfielder Pap Mendy, non-police Mendy. He's had very few minutes under Javi Gracia. We know Javi prefers big physical players in that area of the pitch, and non-police Mendy is about 5'4", so he certainly doesn't fit Javi Gracia's profile as a defensive midfielder. And for a lot of these players we brought in during the summer, they were very much designed to play in Paolo Pezzolano's system. Jeremy Petry fits that mould as well. You could argue foremost Mendy was brought in to play in that back 5-2, and according again to reports in the media, it looks like non-police Mendy has had an approach from a few clubs around Europe, including one in the Polish First Division. The offer is an initial 18-month contract, and look, if I was Mendy, I'd probably look to take that up. If the report is to be believed, he would be the highest paid player in history as well. So yeah, again, a very sad end to a bizarre saga for non-police Mendy. I really like the guy. He's a former Senegalese international. He played lots of Premier League football with Leicester City too. And I did feel when we signed him, he would be a real asset in this Watford squad. But yeah, with Javi, he's very stubborn in his team selection. He doesn't look to change it very often. And yeah, as with a number of other players, non-police Mendy isn't fancied by our happy Spaniard in charge at the moment. So it looks like he could be out of the door before the transfer deadline. And finally, we are going to discuss a former Watford player, Yasir Espria. And you might be thinking, James, why on earth are you talking about him? And I'm going to tell you exactly why now. And you may remember that we sold him a couple of seasons ago to Spanish side Girona. I think the fee was between around 16 and 20 million pounds, depending on what add-ons you take into account. And this transfer window, he has joined Galatasaray on an initial loan deal with the option to buy for about 23 million euros. Now, the reason this is important is because Watford have inserted quite a healthy sell-on clause into his contract. Now, normally in these deals, when a player is sold on to a different club after leaving Watford, the sell-on clause is as a percentage of the profit on the next sale. However, in this case, if Galatasaray do choose to take up the option with Girona, Watford could be set to earn up to £6 million over the course of Esprilla's new contract if the deal is agreed. So if that happens, clearly that's very clever business by Gino Pozzo and the club once again. And it does show that our player trading model works. We saw it with João Pedro when he made the move to Chelsea. We got some money from that Brighton sale, and the same situation, albeit on a smaller scale, seems to be happening here with Asprilla. Now, of course, it needs Galatasaray to take up that 23 million euro option at the end of the season, but Watford, could be rolling in the money here. Now, will Gino Pozzo invest this if it happens? I've got no idea. I'm not the owner. You would hope he would do. But yeah, I know a lot of people complain about our player model and how quickly we kind of sell young talent, but it has worked to good effect. It's keeping the club afloat in a difficult period. And yeah, as I said, Espria to Galatasaray could be set to earn Watford up to €6 million. So that is where we'll end the video today. Unfortunately, nothing on any incomings at the moment. If I was to take, a guess at what will happen in the final days of this window, I do think we'll be disappointed as Watford fans. I think it's clearly followed the same path as previous Januaries, unfortunately. Eduardo Bove has signed, and whilst I agree that is really exciting and fantastic, he's not kind of a current option in this Watford team. We don't yet know really how long it will take for him to get fit. If reports are to be believed, it may be 4 to 6 weeks before he steps out on the pitch for Watford. And what Javi Gracia needs, if he's to achieve his goals this season, are options for the here and now. I see teams around Watford in the Championship, Middlesbrough, Birmingham, Millwall as well. They're really going for it during this January window. And it feels like with the players who are set to leave, we've almost taken kind of 2 steps back rather than 1 step forward, which is really disappointing from kind of a Watford fan's perspective. So I'm hoping Gino, Juanluca, Vallon, Scott Duxbury, I'm hoping you're watching this and have something ready to show us in the next couple of days. But to be honest with you, I'm not getting my hopes too high. There's very few rumours at the moment. And as I said, if I was to take a guess as to what will happen, I think we might be asking our friendly neighbours in Italy for a couple of short-term loans for the end of the season. So a real disappointing way to end the transfer window is what I'll say. A few days left to go, of course, so there is potential for things to happen, but don't get your hopes too high is what I'll say. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time as usual. If anything else does happen or develop, I'll be here to keep you updated with the latest Watford news. You can follow us across all social platforms as well. We're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and as I said, here on YouTube as well. Looking forward to Swansea at the weekend. Hopefully I'll see a few of you there, and I'll catch you again for another video very, very soon. Bye bye.